The ember stairs fade, vanishing into the stone. Before us, bathed in the morning light, stand the ruins of the shattered watch. It looms, ancient stone weathered by time, its walls hollow, as if something long ago had carved out its purpose and left only the shell. Ivy coils through the cracked stone, creeping into empty windows. A faint wind stirs the dust, but no birds, no insects. Too still. We're guided deeper into the ruins, through a crumbling archway into a courtyard. Walls lean at uneasy angles, worn smooth in places, collapsed entirely in others. And at its center, 2 statues stand. One weeps, its pale stone face streaked as though time itself carved sorrow into it. A single ember pulses faintly at its chest, weak, unsteady. The other statue smiles, head tilted toward the light, lips curved in quiet joy. Its ember burns bright and steady. I stop at the courtyard's edge, breath shallow. The air is heavy with quiet expectancy. These statues were placed here for a purpose. My eyes settle on the weeping statue. If only there was something I could do to ease her pain. I take a step closer, reaching toward the ember at her heart. The grief on her face feels too real, like something lingers here, waiting to be understood. I press my palm to the stone. A wave of grief slams into me, not mine, but all around me, inside me. A sob wrenches from my throat, raw and gasping. A loss too deep to name, pressing into my skin as though it could crush me. A flood. Voices, layered, woven into one, the weight of every soul in the moment they knew this place was lost. Desperation, frantic sobs of those who fought, who begged, anguish, the sinking despair of those who had no choice but to leave, knowing they would never return. Their home, their sanctuary, their purpose, left to ruin and memory. It drowns me, squeezing my lungs, and I can't breathe. The pain lingers, but beneath it, something stirs. A whisper of warmth. Not all was lost. Something remained, not in stone, but in memory. The ember beneath my hand pulses once, and the grief fades, leaving only a quiet echo. I exhale, unsteady but whole, and the weight lifts. Beside me, my companion watches. He hesitates, then walks over and places a hand on the smiling statue. A sharp breath, his shoulders tense, fingers pressing into the stone as if bracing against something unseen. His lips part, eyes flickering with something vast, unknowable. Then just as suddenly, he exhales, stepping back, his hand slipping from the statue. His breath comes fast, uneven, his fingers curling at his side as if trying to ground himself. Before we can speak, a sound shudders through the air. We turn, startled, eyes snapping to the source. The wall to our right was broken stone, a collapsed archway of rubble. But now, a door stands in its place. Dark wood, streaked with veins of emberlight, pulsing faintly. My companion exhales through his nose. That wasn't there a moment ago. I swallow, glancing back at the statues, then turn and step toward the door. But I hesitate. It's not fear that stops me. It's the weight of a choice. I glance at my companion. Do we knock? He snorts. Would you answer if you were on the other side? It's a fair point. I reach out and push the door open. It offers no resistance, swinging inward with unnatural ease. No creak, no protest of swollen wood or rusted hinges, as if time itself had no hold on it. Peering inside, dust lingers thick in the air. The chamber is vast, larger than the ruins should allow. Cracks web the stone floor, whispering of collapse, of time pressing in. At the far end, nestled within a deep alcove, a massive rune is carved into the floor. It is broken, pieces missing, but its fractured lines glint with emberlight. Across the walls, dozens of runes remain untouched. One draws my attention, resembling the shattered one, though smaller and less intricate. I walk across the chamber and kneel beside the rune, tracing its fractured lines. If it was part of a ritual, it's incomplete. My companion joins me, folding his arms across his chest. It might be easier to match it to the smaller one. I glance up. Easier, yes, but would it work? He crouches beside me, studying the floor. You don't know that it wouldn't. I exhale. I don't, but someone made this one more intricate for a reason. He taps his fingers against the stone. The thought is sudden, absurd. We've walked together, debated our path, and yet I don't know his name. I turn to him. What do I call you? He blinks, then gives a wry half-smile. I was wondering when you'd ask. Call me Ren. I nod, then gesture at the rune. So, Ren, what's your choice? He exhales, glancing at the cracks. Then reluctantly, he nods. It'll take time, but we repair it. We sift through dust and debris, searching for fragments of the cracked stone floor. Each piece is examined, studied for traces of the rune's design. We fit those fragments back into place, aligning the jagged edges. Where the pattern is lost, we carve, slow, deliberate strokes, hoping we have the lines right. It is slow and painstaking, and we can only hope it is worth it. When the last groove is set, we stand back. And nothing happens. Ren exhales. I swear, he mutters. A low rumble starts. The chamber begins to shake, dust and rocks spilling from above, the stone groaning. My breath catches, instincts bracing for a collapse. But the ceiling doesn't fall. It moves away. Disorientation grips me. The walls stretch, the space shifting, moving. I feel it in the lurch beneath my feet. And then I realize the floor beneath us is sinking. I grab Ren's arm to steady myself as the alcove descends into darkness. The world shifts, then breaks open into space deep beneath the ruins. The platform settles, dust swirls in the quiet. Before us, a long corridor glows with emberlight. I share a glance with Ren, then we step forward. Together we follow the corridor, moving between ancient columns. Ahead, a brighter gleam cuts through the darkness, something burning steadily at the end of the corridor. Following the glow, we move into an open chamber. At its center, a sigil hovers, suspended in midair. It twists and curls like liquid fire. The chamber hums, the air charged, like the crackling stillness before lightning strikes. I can almost hear it, almost understand it. The longer I look, the more the sigil feels like a thought forming just beyond reach. The curve of its light, the rhythm of its shifting embers. It wants to be spoken. I swallow, my lips part, but no words come. Ren exhales beside me. It's beautiful, he murmurs. The light doesn't just glow, it wraps the chamber, its golden hues reflecting on smooth stone, filling the space like liquid sunlight. I can almost imagine stepping into it, letting it soak into my skin. What would it feel like to bathe in that light, to let it consume me? Ren glances at me. You feel it too, don't you? I nod. We could touch it, step into it, but something in my bones warns against it. This isn't just light, it's language, a spell waiting to be spoken. My pulse quickens. I think we have to say it. Ren looks at me sharply. Say it, but... His eyes flick back to the sigil, brow furrowing. Yes, there are words. I can almost taste them. The sigil pulses, its emberlight twisting in a slow, deliberate rhythm. I take a breath. So does he. And together, we speak. The moment the words leave our lips, the sigil reacts. Its glow sharpens, shifting, the lines tightening in sudden clarity. The emberlight ignites, heat hitting my skin as the pattern flares. A sound hums through the air, a word, a response. The chamber blurs. For a heartbeat, I am weightless. And then, the light pulls. A rush like wind and fire and falling, like being unmade and remade all at once. My stomach turns inside out. Ren's voice is lost in the rush, or maybe I don't have ears to hear him anymore. I try to move, but there is nothing to move. And then, impact, solid ground beneath my feet, cool air against my skin. I stagger, breath catching, pulse still racing from the shift. My legs feel unsteady, as if they haven't quite arrived with the rest of me. Ren exhales sharply beside me, one hand braced against the wall behind him. I take a slow breath and lift my gaze. We are not at the Shattered Watch. A courtyard surrounds us, but the architecture is unlike anything I've ever seen before. A large stone archway shows a dense forest looming beyond the wall. The terrain is unfamiliar. Even the air feels different, colder and drier. And for the first time, there's no sign of the ember path to lead us. Ren exhales again, slower this time, eyes sweeping across the space. We should stay here for now. Rest, get our bearings, maybe learn something about this place. His caution is understandable. This place is completely unknown, and staying might uncover something useful for the road ahead. But the sun is still high, and time spent lingering is time lost. I glance toward a door set into the stone, its wood worn but still standing strong. Beside it, a faded sigil is carved into the wall, its edges softened by time. I exhale and turn back to Ren. All right, we stay. The ember path has led us here, but it has not shown us the way forward. For the first time on this journey, the next step is completely ours to decide.